Respiratory Physiology, Carbon Dioxide Transport in Blood. Welcome to today's episode, where we explore a crucial yet often overlooked topic in human physiology, the transport of carbon dioxide in the blood and its profound impact on our well-being. The importance of removing carbon dioxide. Let us begin by considering the significance of carbon dioxide. Although commonly regarded as a mere waste product, carbon dioxide plays an essential role in maintaining the balance of acids and bases in the body. The journey of carbon dioxide from the tissues, where it is produced, to the lungs, where it is expelled, involves a set of remarkably intricate processes. Three distinct pathways of carbon dioxide transport. Carbon dioxide travels through the bloodstream from the tissues to the lungs in three principal forms. Dissolved carbon dioxide. A modest portion of carbon dioxide dissolves directly in the plasma, though small in quantity. This dissolved carbon dioxide sets the partial pressure that drives its movement between compartments. Carbamino compounds, roughly 1/5 to 1/3 of carbon dioxide, binds chemically to amino groups on blood proteins, particularly hemoglobin. This binding occurs not with the iron that holds oxygen, but with the protein chains themselves. Notably, hemoglobin that has released its oxygen holds on to carbon dioxide more readily, which is called the Haldane effect. This effect facilitates the loading of carbon dioxide in the tissues and its release in the lungs. Bicarbonate ions. The majority of carbon dioxide, accounting for about 2/3, is converted into bicarbonate ions. This conversion takes place mostly inside red blood cells, thanks to a specialized enzyme that accelerates the reaction. The bicarbonate buffer system and the chloride shift. The transformation of carbon dioxide into bicarbonate is not a simple matter of chemistry in the plasma. It is a swift, enzyme-driven reaction inside red blood cells, and it maintains the proper balance of electrical charges through an ingenious exchange process. In the tissues, where carbon dioxide is picked up, it diffuses from the cells into the plasma and then enters red blood cells. There, the enzyme carbonic anhydrase catalyzes the reaction between carbon dioxide and water, producing carbonic acid. This acid quickly splits into hydrogen and bicarbonate ions. The hydrogen ions are buffered by deoxygenated hemoglobin, which has a greater capacity to accept protons than oxygenated hemoglobin. Another feature of the Haldane effect, as bicarbonate ions accumulate within the red blood cells, they exit into the plasma. To keep the electrical charge balanced, chloride ions move in from the plasma to take their place. This movement is known as the chloride shift. Thus, blood leaving the tissues carries more dissolved carbon dioxide, more carbaminohemoglobin, and a significantly higher concentration of bicarbonate ions in the plasma. Additionally, chloride ions within the red blood cells are elevated. The reverse process in the lungs. The process reverses in the lungs, where the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the alveoli is lower than in the blood arriving from the tissues. Carbon dioxide moves down its concentration gradient from the plasma and red blood cells into the alveoli, ready to be exhaled. As the concentration of carbon dioxide drops inside the red blood cells, the chemical reactions reverse. Hydrogen and bicarbonate recombine to form carbonic acid, which is split by carbonic anhydrase into water and carbon dioxide. The newly generated carbon dioxide diffuses into the alveolus. At the same time, hemoglobin binds oxygen and becomes oxygenated, reducing its affinity for carbon dioxide and promoting the release of carbamino-bound carbon dioxide. As bicarbonate is consumed within the red blood cells, more bicarbonate moves in from the plasma, and chloride ions return to the plasma, reversing the chloride shift. Now, blood leaving the lungs contains less dissolved carbon dioxide, less carbaminohemoglobin, and a much lower concentration of bicarbonate ions. The Haldane effect. Enhancing carbon dioxide transport. The Haldane effect refers to the phenomenon where blood that has released its oxygen can carry much more carbon dioxide than when it is fully oxygenated. Deoxygenated hemoglobin binds carbon dioxide with greater ease and acts as a more effective buffer for hydrogen ions. This effect ensures that, in the tissues, the unloading of oxygen enhances carbon dioxide loading and proton buffering. In the lungs, the uptake of oxygen encourages carbon dioxide unloading. The Haldane effect effectively doubles the amount of carbon dioxide that venous blood can transport compared to if it were always oxygenated. The carbon dioxide dissociation curve. Unlike the characteristic S-shaped curve for oxygen and hemoglobin, the carbon dioxide dissociation curve is more linear and steeper across the physiological range. This means that blood can carry much more carbon dioxide at any given partial pressure. You can clearly see the impact of the Haldane effect here. The curve for deoxygenated blood sits above that for oxygenated blood, demonstrating that at the same partial pressure of carbon dioxide, venous blood holds more of it. Clinical implications. Acid-base balance. Carbon dioxide transport is central to the bicarbonate buffer system, which is the body's primary defense against disruptions in acid-base balance. The equilibrium between carbon dioxide, water, carbonic acid, hydrogen ions, and bicarbonate is tightly regulated. The lungs control the levels of carbon dioxide. Breathing rapidly removes carbon dioxide, reducing acidity and increasing pH, a state known as respiratory alkalosis. Slow breathing retains carbon dioxide, increasing acidity and lowering pH, known as respiratory acidosis. The kidneys, meanwhile, regulate bicarbonate concentration. Summary. In summary, the transport of carbon dioxide in the blood is a sophisticated and efficient process. It relies primarily on conversion to bicarbonate ions within red blood cells, facilitated by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase and the chloride shift to maintain electrical neutrality. The Haldane effect, where deoxygenation of hemoglobin promotes carbon dioxide loading and binding, enhances this system. The process is elegantly reversed in the lungs, allowing for excretion of carbon dioxide, and is intimately tied to the body's management of acid-base balance. Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you found this discussion enlightening, be sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. It's the Everything Surgery Podcast. Dissect the extraordinary.